What's something that's gotten way worse in the last 10 years, even though nobody admits it? Search engines. Yes. Why is every result of fake robot site covered with ads? Where is all the real information? I miss the early days of the internet so much. My best advice as someone who picked up programming as an auxiliary to my main skill, learn to Google correctly. That's just like, not true anymore. It's so hard to get the proper Stack Overflow as is. But now it's ads on ads on ads and you get a code wreck. The code wreck is often not terrible but FFS. It's missing big things usually, teaching bad syntax. And most importantly, I have no clue how anyone half my age will code proficiently without AI guiding 95% of their steps. Google is about as useful today as it was in the early 2000s, which is to say, not very. They spent years developing algorithms that could take you to exactly the information you want, anticipating your questions before you even asked them. It was so good at Google, became the generic verb for doing a web search. Then they completely hamstrung themselves by turning everything over to shitty AI. They ruined the very thing that made them an empire. Their search is useless now. ETA, I worked in academic libraries for over a decade. Google used to be my go-to recommendation for learning, and I knew a bunch of tips to refine searches. You're totally right. Those strategies just don't work anymore. It was shittifying well before AI came along. I started using Google in the early aughts. It wasn't this bad then. It was less user-friendly. You had to be a bit strategic with the terms you used, but it would eventually find you the information you need. Now it's AI slop. 5 vaguely related YouTube videos, a few more ads, and a couple of halfway related websites. It's borderline useless now for any sort of niche subject. Nah. It wasn't the AI, they actually did it on purpose. As you said, they spent years developing algorithms that could take you to exactly the information you want, anticipating your questions before you even asked them. Here's the problem with that. Google gets to serve you ads on every search. If they get you exactly what you want on the first search, then they only get to serve you one set of ads. However, if you have to search 3 times to get what you want, then they get to serve you triple the number of ads for triple the amount of revenue. So they purposefully broke their own engine to make you do just that. Here's a pretty good roundup of the whole thing. These days, the best option seems to be to use all my Google foo, and then add a Reddit to the end of the search. That way I'll find the obscure 2015 post when someone had the same problem, and an actual human helped them. Money. The answer you're looking for is money. It's why the internet, YouTube, games, etc. all suck now. The enshittification is real. Edit. And it is definitely not just Google. Entire podcast about how the entire internet is being completely ruined and hosted by the guy who coined the term enshittification. I know what you meant, but your sentence makes it really different than what you intended. I just said to my husband, did you notice how everything just got updated to be worse? Why are they revamping catalogs? Librarians have had catalogs figured out for centuries. For the love of God, hire more librarians for everything. Information is useless if you can't find what you're looking for. Academic librarian here. I do enjoy teaching students how to conduct a good search in Google as well as in our databases or online catalog. Seriously, why is it so damn bad, dude? I can't find songs by their lyrics anymore without being shown completely unrelated mainstream suggestions. And why does it seem like the results never show everything? Google, what is wrong with you? It's all Google's products. Try finding something on YouTube. They give you like 5 relevant videos, then the rest are stuff related to old searches, and half of it is stuff you already watched. I want to know how YouTube keeps sending me the same videos to watch that I've already watched. One video I think I got fed 8 times in one day. It was a week old and I watched it when it was published. I left it 7 times, and they still put it in my autoplay an 8th time. The business people took over and realized that worse results meant more time on Google and more ads. Wow, do I hate this? I like a few websites that have hundreds of articles going back about 30 years. I type in the name of the website and the title of the article into the search engine. I get nothing close to what I'm looking for. It's been like this for about 5 or 6 years. Most have also disabled the use of Boolean operators to fine-tune the results. Why? Because they want to force their own results down your throat. Google Images silently changed to being almost entirely ads nearly 10 years ago, and a lot of people never noticed. No, Google, I don't want an AI overview and then add results. Just search for the thing. I learned you can type AI after your search. I've been ranting about this for a couple of years and people look at me like I am crazy or a nerd. Clothing quality. The seams tear out and sweaters ball up within 3 washes now, but old t-shirts from 20 years ago are still going strong. I feel like fast fashion didn't used to be quite so awful. These days, a $10 shirt lasts all of 6 months, but I still have $5 shirts I got from Target well before the pandemic started. I have $5 TS I bought from Steve & Barry's that get worn regularly. That store went out of business in 2009. Older shirts I've bought from the thrift store have definitely outlasted my newer stuff. One tip I can say is wash any graphic tees inside out. They sell whatever gets dumped on them in the bins. Sometimes good, sometimes trash. Especially pants, I've blown the crotch out of just about every new pair of pants I've bought in the last 5 years or so, usually within a couple of wears. Shirts seem to just disintegrate after 10 or so wears too. The one I'm really pissed about is shoes that just come the hell apart. Seamstress, not only the clothing, but raw material I've purchased for years has decreased in quality significantly since COVID. I have no way to tell how a material is going to behave during construction and during wear/laundering, not being able to just buy software outright. This subscription bleeding the consumer dry scheme truly stinks. The one that really gets me is whichever app it is that'll scan your bank history and tell you about subscriptions you forgot you had, and is only available as a subscription. As a software dev, yes, I absolutely hate this trend. YTF are headlights blinding me every time I drive? It's gotten to the point where you can't drive without sunglasses after 9 p.m. or you risk being blinded. There was a Mercedes advertisement with their headlights, where they were shining through a deer, illuminating its skeleton and musculature. Imagine how horrible it is for oncoming traffic to get a dose of those. A cow, but yeah, it's insane, especially for those of us that get the spiky light thing. I can't even drive at night anymore if the roads are wet. You mean astigmatism? Yeah, that's it. Had a brain fart. There were multiple different ads. Just experienced recently that with some new cars, the automatic lights default to use high beam unless there is a car in front that they detect. The accuracy is shameful. I turned off auto high beams on my car. It detected oncoming cars pretty well, but not cars at a cross intersection. Plus they're bright enough on low. High beams are really only useful for those country roads with no lights or other people on them. Yeah. And people should know to drop the high beams when they see headlights approaching from the other direction. Yes, especially if you drive a compact car. Everyone else is in SUVs and trucks, so their lights are in direct line of sight. If they're going to stick with these ultra-bright headlights, they absolutely need to compensate with auto-dimming rear view and side mirrors as well as window tint that can properly shield the driver. My husband and I rarely drive at night because of these insanely bright headlights. I have chronic migraines and I can barely drive after dark because of the insane lights. Human beings and their behavior in public places. Yes! I don't have any proof for this one, but I swear something collectively snapped in about 40 to 50% of the adult population around 2020. So many people are behaving like they've been given the green light to ruin someone else's day and throw a tantrum when anything doesn't go their way. I don't work in retail or food service anymore, but Godspeed to my sisters and brothers who work in those types of customer-facing roles. I know it must be tough out there. COVID forced us to not interact with people as much due to rules, and therefore became selfish assholes. I'm convinced COVID caused brain damage in the population. I think it's more than just not being socialized for a few months. COVID is actually rewiring our brains so that we are more stupid and mean, which would also explain the 2024 election. I guess the Reddit algorithm kicked me this because of my comments from a few minutes ago. My pet theory is that COVID caused low-level/undetectable damage to the frontal cortex in a bunch of people. The frontal cortex is responsible for things like emotional regulation, maintaining socially acceptable behavior, etc. I swear something collectively snapped in about 40 to 50% of the adult population around 2020. I absolutely think that this is a result of the COVID shutdowns. People just came out of that no longer giving a shit about manners, chivalry, politeness, and just a general, only care about themselves attitude. We need to bring back the time-honored tradition of booing people in public. Everything is a subscription nowadays. You don't own shit. Tech, everything is less helpful and more annoying to use now. Authenticators, endless updates. We haven't had anything that actually improves our quality of life since the advent of the smartphone, if you could even consider what it resulted in improved quality of life. It's just endless slop. I remember when content was driven more by, you might also like, and less by, here's more of the same shit we know you already like. Algorithms have not only put us into bubbles, they've made discovery more difficult. I wish my browser could have the StumbleUpon add-on again. I miss StumbleUpon. Great tool for boredom. This is why I listen to music podcasts with human DJs. I don't want, here's more of what you like. I want if you like X, you might like Y, who are doing something new and interesting. It takes me 15 minutes to log into various systems when I get to work in the morning. Thus includes multiple apps on my phone, which then require me to two-factor authenticate with my phone. It's fucking annoying. Guys, I'm an automotive technician. This shit needs to stop. Precisely one of those things I need to log into is actually useful for my job. The goddamn service manual. Smartphone use and everything negative associated with it has gotten worse, especially with younger people. We used to be fine without these things, in fact much better. I agree, I'm 41 and I am endlessly grateful that I didn't have a smartphone or social media when I was in school. The quality of all manner of products, the quality of fast food, litter, and general attitude toward leaving public spaces nicer than you found them, the general attitude toward and consideration of others. Yep, people are just giving less and less of a shit. I'm weird, but lately I've been YouTubing a lot of footage from the 50s to 90s to see how the world used to be, and aside from the racism, it looked like an amazing place of courteous people. Chocolate, candy in general. Kit Kats are now disgusting. The trolley gummy worms are now half the size they used to be. Canadian living in America. And I've been slowly comparing the different chocolates and candies. Kit Kats are notably worse in America. The chocolate is worse quality and it's just too sweet. Assuming they used to be the same as the Canadian ones, they definitely got worse somewhere along the line. I used to love Kit Kats. Now they make my stomach hurt when I eat them. For about 2 to 3 years now. Other candy hasn't changed like that for me. Just Kit Kats. The taste isn't great anymore either. I work in a candy store and let me tell you, it's so damn frustrating having to reprice everything all the time. Because our cost rises with every freaking order. Weekly orders. Man, it ain't even just chocolate. Have you tried a Ritz cracker lately? They're bland AF. They took all the flavor out of them. The kids' ability to read and critically think. It's not just reading comprehension. They can't sit and read for more than 10 or 20 minutes before they're completely taxed. Their mental stamina is extremely far behind compared to kids from previous generations, and it's getting worse all the time. I'm in my mid-30s. Been a lifelong reader, and prior to this year, the number of books I've read the last couple of years was down compared to what I usually could read. Being on my phone so much was noticeably fucking up my ability to concentrate. The start of 2025, I resolved to break that and get back to where I was and force myself to churn through books like I'd been able to my whole life. I can't imagine how difficult it must be if all they've ever known is instant gratification through screens than trying to sit through any kind of book. All media. We are at the precipice of living in a world where you will never truly own anything again. Everything is a service nowadays. I'm surprised groceries and fast food haven't figured out how to operate on only a subscription model yet. X amount of burgers a month for our McBron's package. But if you want a drink with that, you'll need to upgrade to McSilver. And fries will only come with our McGold package. Please take this down before they see this and think it's a great idea and do it. Are you nuts? Remove this immediately. It would have been easier to ask what hasn't gotten worse or improved over the last 10 years, much shorter list. The cost of living versus living wages. Upvoted this, although it is often talked about without being acted on. Second Gilded Age. Dude, it's bad. I have a union job in California and you think I'd be okay, right? Every year all we hear are excuses about why we can't have raises. It's been a decade since we had a significant one. Meanwhile, literally everything I'm buying has doubled in price over the last 10Y. I think we got about 5% over the last 10Y. A few 1% adjustments and a single 2%. I don't know how other people do it. I know I could have it better but could also have it a lot worse, so I appreciate that. Gestures broadly. Right, like maybe a better question would be, what didn't get shittier in the last 10 years? McDonald's is the first thing that popped in my head. Just about any restaurant really. Everybody decided that cheaping out on quality and simplifying menus, getting rid of the things that were actually good but had more expensive ingredients, was the way to go. And it's hard to find any restaurant worth eating at now. I think chain restaurants' quality has deteriorated, but the access to good quality food from independents has increased. The quality of building products. Like pressure-treated lumber. Most fast food restaurants have lost their personality. America. AI personal assistants. I used to say, turn on the lights, and it would just do it. Now I have to listen to a whole speech about the other functions, and would I like to hear a joke or be recommended some music that would lighten the mood. Stop trying to understand me on a deeper level. I literally just want my lights on so I can see. At my house we installed this switch on the wall, and I just press it up or down when I want lights. So far it hasn't caused any problems. There's even a model that responds to clapping, or so I've heard. Shout out to one specific AI that also makes the device super laggy unless you pay for the additional subscription on top of the subscription you already pay for. TVADs. The tech in cars. It's too much now. I'd be happy to go back to just having a radio cassette player and a map book. Facebook. It's a whole lot of ads now. Blame being placed on undiagnosed mental illness. Mental health. Google. Prices, corruption, wage and wealth disparity, customer service. Everything's a chatbot, a labyrinth of, we value your feedback, and a 5 to 7 business day shrug. Rampant authoritarianism. Whataboutism, especially in comments section. Big YouTube channels got worse. Every YouTuber with 100K is filled clickbait, rage bait and reaction videos. Public discourse on this platform. Every discount store, Dollar Tree, Five Below. Nothing is cheap anymore. Government censorship of news stories. The comment section on animal videos in Instagram. I sometimes find myself watching cute animal videos on YouTube and IG, and on IG there's always a handful of people commenting how something is bad or how the poster is terrible owner for things that no one would complain about a decade ago. Example, a video showing a puppy eating a bowl of kibble in a house that appears clean. Dog has toys, has fresh water and no apparent reason to believe they are being abused. At least 2 or 3 comments saying, I'd never feed my dog kibble. I love them, or some variation of the sort. Okay, maybe there are better options than kibble, but it doesn't mean a dog is being abused. Maybe that's all owner can afford. If they love them to the best of their ability, do they not deserve a pet? Should only rich people have pets? Should we just be happy that an animal is cared for in a seemingly safe home and not somewhere in a shelter? Something similar when somebody posts food online. The comments immediately go to people being outraged over seed oils, GMOs, artificial colors, artificial sweeteners, etc. Healthcare. It's really getting bad here in the States, but you don't realize it until you have a chronic issue. It's like medical professionals hate sick people. Go figure. Microsoft. And nobody admits it, part is hard because everyone is always bitching about how everything is consistently getting worse. But perhaps I will add, our sense of what is common to the zeitgeist. Like everyone's in a bubble now, living almost exclusively in our own personal algorithms, so the cultural center, the normal part of society doesn't really exist anymore. Climate change. Here in Texas, people act like I'm some sort of P***SSY because I bring it up. Like I can't handle the heat or something. I'm 39, I remember when I moved into my apartment 7 years ago that I didn't have to run the AC in October. When I was in school, fall actually felt like fall, and that it got below 50 degrees in the winter. People are so damn short-sighted. They don't remember how many insects there used to be. I feel like I'm on the Titanic, and people are ankle-deep in water saying that we haven't hit anything. Except there's no lifeboats to get on this time. Everyone's naming the most talked about shit. Not the nobody wants to admit stuff. Food is my call. Just averaged across the board, any restaurant you go to is just different branding of Cisco or US Foods. I don't eat out often, but I've noticed, with a few exceptions, that fast food has become considerably worse over the last decade. And more expensive. Smaller portions. More expensive and shittier. The unholy trinity. Our willingness to tolerate people outside our bubble. The replies being a perfect microcosm of what you mean is too poetic. Well, sure. But it would help if conservatives didn't want liberals like me to die. Surprised streaming services aren't on here yet. It's now just the way cable was. But on the internet and with more steps. A person's attention span, homelessness, parenting, empathy, respect for fellow humans, monopolized markets, calling customer service for legitimately anything, was always crap, but now it's even worse with endless looping AI prompts, and when you press 000000000 to try to talk to an actual person or tell the AI to shut up and connect you, you just get, I understand you want to talk to an agent, but I may be able to help you. Flying. Airlines keep pinching pennies and making seat space smaller and smaller. Food has always been bad, but now sometimes you don't even get it. Flying is literally worse than a Greyhound bus, now it's just faster. The lack of 24-hour anything. Google Maps, especially for cycling or walking. I can recall years ago that sometimes the map would show a pathway, but I had to dig through the trees to find it after passing the spot a couple of times. I found some really nice hidden places that way. Now, it's a hit or miss as to whether a walk path is part of the directions or not. For a while, the walkway mid-block over the RR tracks near me would never be a part of the walk directions. And many of the park paths are missing. Sigh. Civility. Gone and forgotten. The internet. It peaked in 2003, I think, just before social media. It's a cancer now. Early 2010s is when it fully shat the bed. Memes actually had templates and them before then, e.g. Bad Luck Brian, but now anything with a caption is a meme. Reddit. Especially on gaming subs. I think a lot of posters have forgot the point of video games is to have fun, quality of life, customer service. It's like every company collectively decided the best way to help people was to hide the "they contact us" or "unsubscribe" button in a cave guarded by riddles and a Demogorgon chatbot. I had to have my bank issue me all new cards to get Audible to fuck off already. Several others too. It's basically impossible to cancel, or you have to email customer service, which is basically a new retention team type thing, to even try and request it. Worst part is, they don't answer half the time. It went from like 4 annoying companies to all of them in what seems like just a few months. I'm expecting them to start demanding that we request a form package via snail mail, filled out and sent back the same way, just so they can squeeze 2 more months subscription fee out of us. I'm sick of being slowly sucked dry for hundreds of extra dollars a month. Half the time I get a single week of notice when the price is about to go up, and it's usually nearly doubled each time. Then they make it impossible to get to a cancellation option. Amazon package with a photo of it at the wrong address? Too bad, it's marked delivered. No spot to request a refund or report a problem. Not even a rate my delivery option. 32 minutes of Googling to find a customer service line and endless ringing with no answer. After that I gave up and cancelled all Amazon services. I'm literally stuck without my cards and shit right now, like some sort of weird grounded baby or something, cause they mail replacements and Canada Post is on strike at the moment. I've cancelled basically all my subscriptions except the ones I need for working, right off on my taxes. And 2 entertainment ones. It was hard and took me over 3 months of chasing these fuckhead core around in circles. I'd get confirmation emails that stated it was cancelled and then charged again the next billing cycle anyway. Luckily, I am with a local credit union, not one of the big 5 CDN banks. So when I brought in copies of all the emails trying to cancel these things and having them still charge me, it wasn't hard to get the chargebacks issued. Seriously, though, it's insane lately. They're like frickin' ticks with how deep they manage to burrow in. Then it just gets worse cause they immediately decide, oh, let's milk more money with a tiered subscription, where we just take away all the features everyone used to have and lock them behind the gold tier package. Ugh. America. Restaurant food and service. Retail clothing quality. Kids channels, Disney, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, etc. People. Behavior. People are so self-centered and egotistical that their concern for anyone out in the public becomes an issue. People are on their phone on speakerphone, whether they're having a full-blown conversation loud and not giving a damn, and people think everybody owes them something instead of just being so considerate of others and being selfless. Population. There's just people absolutely everywhere you go. 30 years ago, it was a lot easier to find solitude. Streaming services. I remember when Netflix mailed DVDs to your house. Now I pay for HBO, Netflix, and Hulu, because there are 4 or 5 shows in each service I watch. Okay, frustrating. Then I have 3 seasons of my show on Hulu and the other 5 seasons on Netflix. Okay, also frustrating. Now it seems like one big streaming orgy. You never know where your shows and movies are going to be tomorrow, or if the price will go up. All of AMC's shows are on Netflix now. HBO has gotten rid of shows it's had for years just overnight. They all just constantly buy and sell from each other and just gets messy. I bought myself a DVD VHS player combo and started collecting because I'm moving back to physical media. Just over it. Ads. And I ain't paying a dime for premium to skip them. Food quality. Everything tastes like ass now. Adobe Acrobat. Attention spans. Build quality of refrigerators. We had one that lasted 32 years. Got a new one 3 years ago. When it broke, the repairman said most of his job was looking at fridges and telling people they had to get a new one. Turns out now they aren't expected to last more than about 3 years. Fast food. Innovation. For some reason we try to innovate where it's not needed and things become more of a headache. Allergies. Seriously, mine used to be May and September. Now they start in March and go through November. And allergy meds don't help. Literally everything. Things are more convenient, but there's no quality or substance to anything anymore. A little out there, but Godiva chocolate. I used to buy some every time I would go to the mall as a treat, but the quality has really taken a nosedive. I miss the open oysters. Civility and courtesy in the public domain. Science literacy. Surveillance. The climate. This ain't the heat from the early 2000s. A hotter world holds more moisture. That's why we're seeing so many catastrophic floods. Creeping fascism. Fascism. Phones, or cell service. I don't know, but phones and browsing used to just work better. 10 years ago, 2015, for those who also can't believe it, my phone and everyone's phone around me worked perfectly. Now it seems like everyone's shit is bugging / not working out all of the time. Homeless problem in America. Politics. Automatic phone calls stresses me out. How often people ignore titles to just complain about the same stuff over and over. Video game commentary. Went from folks simply discussing a game, or even just posting no commentary walkthroughs / guides to whatever the fuck it is we have now, where everyone has an opinion and clickbait thumbnails / video titles, thinking they're the next zero punctuation, etc. Makes me grateful for some of the channels that I follow that still post no commentary videos. They know what we want and deliver regularly. Basic problem solving. I'm not talking about complicated things, but being able to adapt and figure shit out has seemingly gone out the proverbial window. TV smut? I feel like every other show that drops that becomes a hit is full of too many graphic sex or nude scenes. Like it's getting harder to watch anything with my 13-year-old, and I'm not one of those parents that are cool with them watching that. I remember when the stuff in GOT was considered shocking. Running red lights. I'm sure a big part of it is people being on their phones while they drive, but it's gotten so bad. Also, the idiots who weave through lanes of traffic on the freeway like they're in a NASCAR race. Something I've noticed a disturbing number of times. If I misjudge the timing of a yellow light and it turns red as I'm passing under it, anyone immediately behind me runs the light outright. It's become more surprising when they don't. Biodiversity. I mean, we can see it pretty easily. Even as someone without great knowledge about animals and plants, I notice there is less and less. Obviously, the cost of everything is stupid high, but 8 years ago when I met my fiancé, he had 2 dogs, still have them. A bag of dog food was like $16 or $18. Now, the same fucking bag of food is $28. Literally, we won't be able to afford to ever have another dog at this rate. Vet bills, even just basic shots, astronomical. Naming and blaming. Everyone benefits except they really don't. Practically most things. Send me back in time, please. Racism, politeness, politics. The list is endless. Relationships. Way too many people consider texting to be relationship interaction. Movies, and I haven't put my finger on exactly why, but IMO the movie industry basically got trashed by COVID. My family and I used to go to the movie theater all the time, but since COVID we're maybe been 4 or 5 times and wound up seeing decidedly lackluster movies. I don't get it. Every month or 2 there used to be something I was excited about seeing in theaters, but since COVID it's like, studios don't want to take risks anymore. So much stuff just seems formulaic. Written by committee with this blandness for safety and mass market appeal. I don't know. Maybe I'm just jaded. Customer service. Somehow everyone's, how can I help you, now comes with a side of a good luck, you're on your own. The size of trucks. People's curiosity. People used to be more curious and less sure. Now everyone knows everything. And ask less questions. Imagination. Most people live in a few people's imaginary world. How we communicate with each other. Groceries. Quality is shit and prices are high. Products shrinks and nothing makes sense. Journalism. Video ads, everywhere. Social media. Politics and social networking. Most jobs / careers. 10 years ago, most jobs / careers were still a legitimate way for achieving social mobility and earning decent money. Now it feels like most jobs are dead-end. Poorly paid waste of time. The Republican Party. If you are a member you should consider changing. Everyone under 40 supporting conservatives has a major loser complex. Every single dad you know whining about not seeing his kids on social media who dumps them off at his mom when he gets them is a Republican. The mean girls in high school who suddenly work as scammy salespeople and want to be everyone's friend are basically the same thing. Let's talk about something funny about the males over 40, or really more over 60. I have a hobby of reading old local newspaper archives from the past, but 70s through 90s in particular. I like reading the court convictions in there. All these people, usually males who were about 18 to 21 at the time, being sentenced for things like rape, assault, robbery, etc. I get nosy at times and say, I wonder what that person is up to now, and just do a quick Facebook search for that name. And wouldn't you know it, every single one has a Facebook profile full of pro-MAGA stuff. Usually a lot of complaining about crime and blaming immigrants. The climate, politics, product packaging. Hot dogs no longer have a Ziploc seal. You have to tear them open. There's plastic peel tabs on several products that don't peel and you have to cut them. Meanwhile, record profits for CEOs. My crack habit. Customer service at fast food places. Racism. Food. Quality of life. Candy. The internet. Its super censored searches. Scams and bots. Privacy. Public discourse. Weirdly, since COVID, personal space in public. Appliances. Built now for 3 to 5 years of service, and then you either buy a new one or pay for service contract for the repairs you'll need to keep it alive. My old, dumb appliances ran forever. Manufacturing in general has followed the subscription model whether you know it or not. Misogyny on social media. I've been around for a long time. Reddit was super misogynistic on launch and it got slowly better. I'd say there was a significant improvement by 2018, but by 2021-22, it's gotten worse again. I don't get death threats anymore, so that's something. Casual hatred of women is more and more widespread. Dating. Life. As a whole. Computer/smartphone UI. Maybe it's my zillennial ass starting to boomerize, but having learned how to manipulate computers around 1998-2000, I find like UIs nowadays are absolutely horrible. Back then everything made sense. With common sense you could find the appropriate menu to do a specific thing. Now, nothing makes sense anymore. Annoying pop-up? No way to deactivate it. Some setting decided to go berserk on your lighting/sound/display? Cry about it. Not to mention the ultra-minimalism trend that forces all software editors, like Windows, to make absolutely shit-ass menus where you only have like 2 settings, where there should be like 40, and it's the 2 most irrelevant, out of context. Most niche settings ever that you'll never need, but the most important settings? Yeah. You didn't need that. Silly human. No, I don't need the smart 2-touch assistant Jackie Chan store, you clanker. I need the basic settings. Don't even get me started on the Windows search bar. Back in 2000 you could find anything in any folder in a couple of seconds. Nowadays? You typed in resumed a doc in the search bar? What's that? A Romanian soup recipe. Want me to look it up on the internet? On Bing? Freaking awful.